In a world where maritime routes are lifelines for global trade, security in the South China Sea is more crucial than ever. Recent developments signal a significant shift in regional dynamics as the Philippines makes a strategic move by deploying the state-of-the-art U.S.-made Typhon Missile System. But what does this mean for the nation, its neighbors, and the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific? Welcome back to our channel. If you're passionate about understanding global security and defense strategies, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for weekly updates. Today, we're diving into the deployment of the Typhon Missile System by the Philippines, a significant move in safeguarding its maritime territory. The Philippines said Monday it planned to acquire the U.S. Typhon Missile System as part of a push to secure its maritime interests, sparking warnings from China of a regional arms race. The U.S. Army deployed the mid-range missile system in the northern Philippines earlier this year for annual joint military exercises with its longtime ally and decided to leave it there despite criticism by Beijing that it was destabilizing to Asia. Philippine Army Chief Lieutenant General Roy Galido told a news conference on Monday that the missile system would be acquired because we see its feasibility and its functionality in our concept of archipelagic defense implementation. I'm happy to report to our fellow countrymen that your army is developing this capability for the interest of protecting our sovereignty, he said, adding that the total cost of the acquisition would depend on economics. The presence of the U.S. missile launcher had angered Beijing, whose Navy and Coast Guard forces have engaged in escalating confrontations in recent months with the Philippines over disputed reefs and waters in the South China Sea. Beijing claims almost the entire South China Sea, a key global shipping route, despite an international ruling that its assertion has no legal basis. Manila and Washington, long-standing treaty allies, have deepened their defense cooperation since Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos took office in 2022 and began pushing back on Beijing's claims to the South China Sea. The U.S. lays no claims in the South China Sea, but has warned that it is obligated to defend the Philippines if its forces come under attack there, and has declared that freedom of navigation is among its core national interests. And on Monday, China swiftly condemned the decision to acquire the system as a provocative and dangerous move, and warned it risked triggering an arms race. It is an extremely irresponsible choice for the history of its own people and the people of Southeast Asia, as well as for regional security, China's Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning said Monday. The region needs peace and prosperity, not missiles and confrontation, she added, urging Manila to correct its wrong practices as soon as possible. As a rule, it takes at least 2 or more years for the Philippine military to acquire a new weapon system from the planning stage, Galido said Monday, adding it was not yet budgeted for 2025. It took 5 years for Manila to take delivery of the BrahMos cruise missile last year, he added. The land-based mid-range capability Typhon missile launcher, developed by Lockheed Martin for the U.S. Army, has a range of 300 miles. Though a longer-range version is in development. Galido said the Typhon system would enable the Army to project force outwards up to 200 nautical miles, which is the limit of the archipelago nation's maritime entitlements under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. You have to take note of the fact that at 200 nautical miles, there is no land there, and the Army cannot go there, he said. The Typhon platform will protect our floating assets, he said, a reference to ships of the Philippine Navy and Coast Guard and other vessels. Chinese Defense Minister Dong Jun warned in June that the Typhon deployment was severely damaging regional security and stability. But Galido dismissed the criticism of the Typhon system in the Philippines. We should not be bothered by others' seeming insecurities because we don't have any plans to go outside of our country's interests, he said. Projecting force. The land-based Typhon missile launcher, developed by U.S. firm Lockheed Martin for the U.S. military, has a range of 480 kilometers, 300 miles, though a longer-range version is in development. Galito said the Typhon system would enable the Army to project force outwards up to 370 kilometers, 200 nautical miles, which is the limit of the archipelago nation's maritime entitlements under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Typhon would, he said, protect our floating assets, a reference to ships of the Philippine Navy, Coast Guard, and other vessels. Chinese Defense Minister Dong Jun warned in June that the deployment of Typhon by the U.S. Army earlier this year was severely damaging regional security and stability. Galito dismissed the criticism, saying his country should not be bothered by others' seeming insecurities because we don't have any plans to go outside of our country's interests. For the Philippines, protecting its sovereignty and resources is paramount. The Typhon system provides a robust deterrence against potential threats. This deployment sends a strong message. It not only strengthens the Philippines' maritime defense, but also highlights the deepening security ties between Manila and Washington. Experts believe this move could reshape security dynamics in the Indo-Pacific. It's a strategic counterbalance to increasing assertiveness in the region. Reactions to the deployment have been mixed. While allies like the U.S. and Japan view it as a positive step towards regional stability, others see it as an escalation of tensions. What's clear is that this decision underscores the Philippines' resolve to protect its interests. As the South China Sea continues to be a focal point of global attention, the Philippines' deployment of the Typhon Missile System marks a pivotal moment in regional security. Thanks for watching. What do you think about this development? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that notification bell for updates on this and other stories shaping our world.